Enda, so what's behind the latest spat of delays?
Well, specifically, Danny, we have over 100 ships here off Hong Kong and Shenzhen backed up, and that's because we had 2 typhoons in a row last week. Now, those delays in this part of the world will ricochet over to the ports on the west coast of the US and, of course, to the ports in Europe. That means there will be a delay on goods getting to the supermarket shelves and to the shopping malls. That means there will be a greater cost in getting those goods to that point. That will delay the point at which consumers can buy them. And when you consider then the impact it has on inflation, the kind of feeling is that this supply crunch story is getting worse and will continue to drag on the global growth recovery. And that's what we're seeing, I think, in many parts of the world now. And economists are saying that the crunch that started out at the start of the year looking quite temporary is now looking much more longer lasting than anticipated.
And yet, Enda, I would encourage you to go back and listen to the interview from Martin Malone from Alphabet, where he talks about the Port of LA operating 24 hours in the next 2 to 3 months. You're going to get a growth breakout in the US, something like you've never, ever seen before. So is that one piece of the circuit breaker, the LA port? It's one example.
Absolutely, Miles. I mean, to be clear, there are those who say, you know, there are a lot of containers being built right now. There are even actual new container ships being built right now. There's a lot of semiconductors coming down the pipeline. And to your point, you know, the Port of LA is obviously going flat out to clear that backlog. So there is a view out there that at some point, all of this is going to snap back. But when I speak to manufacturers, and we speak to manufacturers on this all the time, you know, they're not talking about the Christmas holiday season anymore. As I say, that ship has either sailed by now or it hasn't sailed at all. They're worried about their order book for the spring and summer catalogue. That's where they're thinking as far ahead as that. They don't see any kind of near-term circuit breaker in any of these issues. And even if we do get to a point next year where there is some relief across the board and all of these chokages, I think, you know, roughly speaking, over the next 6 months or so, I don't think anybody expects a material improvement. This crunch does continue. Global demand is still very strong, and producers, especially in this part of the world, are struggling both to meet that demand and get their goods to their end market. So I think the story for now does remain one of an ongoing supply crunch.